Hello, it is a pleasure again to be on your screen on the program Nigerian Now, where we analyze the issues happening in Nigeria, jumping into politics, policy, security, crime, and a lot of things actually affect the nation Nigeria. I am Sela Elisha Dasham, and I'll be doing this alongside Rachel Tansey. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Sally.
So our viewers, we're live on Facebook. You can do how to follow us live there. Drop your comment, drop your contribution on any of the story that is of interest to you. And today on the program, we'll be looking into crime and also some of the policies that our government have actually said. Now, I'd like to start with the issue of the probe, talking about police probe some officers into extortion. And I know over the years, this has been a topic that has been touchy, and this has been a topic that Nigerians have complained about over and over and over when you talk about extortion coming from the government. And we saw it today where it has gotten to the knowledge of the talking about those who are into monitoring unit, where we saw that there was a case in Port Harcourt where a certain person was being, well, I say his house was actually being busted, and then where we saw security agency getting there and he was arrested, and then cars, jewelries, and all of things, rounded up to about 100 million naira was taken from him. And according to the police officers who got into the house, said that a particular amount will be going to the IG of the police, and then another particular amount will be going to the unit of the police, and then eventually just about 12 million naira was being returned back to him. Now this has gotten into the ears of the police, and they felt this is a very grave allegation against the IG, because if a certain amount is supposed to go to him, then this is really grave and it needs to be investigated and probed. And right now investigation is going on to actually check into it. Now, not just this, but this has been an issue that has been coming up. Of course, I know this will be of national interest because the name of the IG of the police is actually involved, and this is talking about somebody who is supposed to be upholding, talking about law agency, people who are supposed to make sure that Nigerians are law abiding, and his name is being mentioned into things like this. Although it's being probed, I think it is important that we bring it to the front light to actually discuss it, because once the head gets spoiled, eventually everything that goes down gets to be affected. And I think it's important that we bring this into the forefront and actually discuss it and say what is the way forward when we hear issues like this coming up.
Sarah, that's even the more reason why it came to the headline, because these two police officers said that they would be giving this money to the Inspector General of Police and one other Commissioner of Police in Rivers State. And I believe that without them mentioning the names of these big people, it wouldn't even make it to our papers, and it wouldn't even be that big in the first place. It's just them trying to cover up their tracks when you look at it, because these are they don't even work under the Inspector General of the Police in the first place for us to say yes, they might be having a direct order or truly they're working hand in hand. They don't work under the Inspector General of Police. Therefore, this is perhaps their own way of trying to manipulate the whole situation, or trying to put in fear to their victim here, trying to tell him that, okay, you should shut up because we are, even our oga at the top, as we usually say it here in Nigeria, are also involved. And then we are seeing this advocate coming in and stepping in for this person. And then it's really sad, Sele, on so many levels when you see a law enforcement officer doing things like this. In the first place, it is very bad on any level. It's not supposed to be heard of that a law enforcement officer is involved in crime. It only shows the level of corruption in the country. It only shows that crime is really high in the country. And whether we like it or not, these are the things that don't speak well about Nigeria. It doesn't speak well about our country on any level, because you are a law enforcement officer. It means that you are supposed to be the one intervening in a situation where you see someone trying to take advantage of another person in a scenario like this, but yet you are the one now taking advantage of a civilian and then you wonder if we have those who are saddled with the responsibility of enforcing that people don't violate the laws of the country, are the ones violating it, then what is the way forward for Nigeria? It keeps showing to us that there's no safety nowhere, because I should be able to have confidence in the police system, knowing very well that they are not involved in such things. And just as I said, this is just one of the few, and this happened to make it to the paper. But imagine the countless number of extortion that have gone on in this country, people whose voice never got heard, people whom just were victim of this kind of habit or behavior from the police, and then it never. What about on the road, where you're being harassed for something as little as 50 naira, 100 naira, and this is all coming from the law enforcement officers? And then it doesn't just stop with the police. If we're going to talk about our country as it is now, we can go with the military, we can go down to anybody that happens to be on patrol, we can go down to our civil defense, we can go to the this road safety, we can go down to even the vehicle inspection officers, everybody that has been given the responsibility of inspecting and making sure that things are going on well, that people are abiding by laws and rules of a place, are also violating the same rules. And then the question is, where do we go from here? How do we make sure that this is no longer a problem in the Nigerian system? And I believe that this is a wake-up call for us, because we can't have people who are supposed to be the ones fighting crime as the criminals themselves.
Very true, Rachel, because, probing this whole thing, because we're seeing it beyond just this particular story.
Yes.
We're trying to x-ray the entire, talking about our security agency, and you mentioned the paramilitary, and including the military, and everybody that is involved with making sure that Nigerians are law-abiding. And we've heard these things coming over and over. In fact, just recently, even Lagos State, another case is up again, because there was a time where the residents of particular place, especially those beggar going down to Lagos Ibadan Expressway, they have complained of police officers coming up to extort, commuters. And then recently again, they are complaining that these people are back again extorting money from from drivers. And then it's as high as 25,000 naira extortion, because it's either you're being, maybe they charge you for either maybe running through the traffic light or one thing or the other, asking for your papers and all of that. And no wonder people keep asking, let us know what a particular body is meant to do. What is the responsibility of the police? What is the responsibility of the VIO? What is the responsibility of the Federal Road Safety? What is the responsibility of a particular, so that we know where your power ends and where my power begins. No wonder we've heard issues where you hear that the police and the soldier are having issues. There was a clash. And I begin to ask yourself, what really happened? Is it that they clash in a place of responsibility or in their duties, whereby you're supposed to be doing your duty, and then I'm trying to, get into it and then make sure that things do not go as expected? So I think it's high time that the IG of the police call the entire body of the police enforcement agency to order to talk to themselves. And I remember we're talking about the fact that this only exposed a decay in the police agency, because when we begin to see stories like this, then that tells you that something has been going unnoticed for a long period of time, and finally people are getting the guts to actually speak out and to bring out all of this. And it will shock you that this particular story was not even being reported by the victim, but was being reported by a second party. So that is to tell you that over the years, people have gotten involved in issues like this and nobody is speaking out. So I hope that this will reveal to the government that they need to do something about not just the police, but every other body that, just like we always say, that are law enforcement. When you are supposed to enforce the law, you should do that and not be found wanting eventually in your place of assignment. We keep saying, whether are we practicing rule of law, rule of human beings, because eventually if it is the rule of man, then we know that man set it and he breaks it. But we're talking about the rule of law, regardless of who is involved, they should face the full wrath of the law. So right now, our fingers are crossed. It's still under investigation. So we are hoping that after the monitoring unit, the crime, talking about investigation team, are able to actually investigate this case thoroughly and make sure that no stone is left unturned. Then we'll begin to see that the right things are being done eventually. Now, moving on now, still talking about everybody doing his responsibility. Just recently, we've heard that initially there was supposed to be a strike today coming from the joint union, both the TUC and the NLC, talking about the fact that the government did not do what they are supposed to do, talking about their certain promises the government made ever since they removed the fuel subsidy. Until date, nothing has been heard. And no wonder, the Labour said we are going on strike.
Yes.
But just at the 11th hour, when Nigerians were saying definitely this strike was going to hold, initially the meeting between the federal government was slated for today. But because of the seriousness, they had that meeting yesterday. And then after the meeting, that was when we see NLC came out to say that there would be no strike. We're giving the government an ultimatum for about 30 days. Now, the concern for Nigerians are looking at some of those promises. Because over the years, from the speech where we heard the president saying on the 1st of October, he didn't mention the issue of fixing our refineries, and this was some part of the things that NLC were hoping to look into. Talking about capturing of our private sector, they were not being mentioned. Talking about quite a number of things, even the CNG buses that were supposed to roll in our campuses, and also even to help federal workers to be able to get to their work was not being captioned. But yesterday he was able to touch one or two things, increase it from the 25,000 naira he said during his broadcast, and then it was being increased to 35,000. So that makes the minimum wage to be about 65,000 now. In all of this, is a lot of concerns out on the table for Nigerians. The fact that workers feel cheated, workers feel their emotions are being, played with. A lot of people feel that maybe NLC is not even serious with this back and forth. 21 days ultimatum, 30 days ultimatum, 5 days, and all of this, and then go on strike. They are not going on strike. Now, are we encouraging strike? Of course not. Over the years, I've said that why do we have a body always threatening to go on strike before we see the right thing is being done? Can't we just see that our doctors are being treated well without them saying they are going on strike? Can't we hear our lecturers are being treated well without them saying they are going on strike? Can't we even hear anybody working well without actually threatening to go on strike for the government to do the right thing? Now, these are questions, these are concerns on the minds of Nigerians, and we hope that the government have the right answers with how are we going to move forward without always hearing back and forth, because believe you me, Rachel, this have a way of affecting work. Recently, if that strike had actually gone, we're talking about losing over 200 billion or more daily, because a lot of businesses will have to shut down because we are on strike. NLC is on strike. So with all of that, I just want to hear your own opinion about this back and forth coming from the federal government, the NLC, on whether they are going on strike or not.
I mean, Stella, is NLC gullible or what? And then why are they smiling in the meeting? Because I can see pictures of them smiling. It's not funny. It's not funny on any level. And then I wonder, like, are they gullible? I mean, a common Nigerian will know that the government of Nigeria is playing a lot of sense here. And first of all, it's 500 billion naira palliative to 12 million households. It didn't rule out nothing. The government was silent. NLC was waiting. Nothing happened. Okay, give us another 4 weeks to start rolling these things out. Nothing came. Then finally, okay, we are now down to 185 billion naira, 5 million to every state, and 5 trucks of rice to every state. Nothing. We are waiting. Okay, we're giving you 2 more weeks. We're giving you this more days. We're giving you this and that. Nothing. Not forgetting the fact that you have already stated out to the federal government of Nigeria that this and this and this and this is what you need for the citizens of Nigerians, because you know what? The hardship is too much. First of all, the 15,000 naira that would go to households didn't go. Nobody saw the 500 billion naira. The states are yet to see the 185 billion, 5 billion to each state. Nobody is saying that now. And then 1st October came and we are waiting for that massive speech from the president, that package. And we said it here, Sele, if this package is not minimum wage for everybody of what the NLC asks of 200,000, even if, as the federal government kept on saying, it's kind of unrealistic, which of course we know is not, but let's just take the government at their word that it's unrealistic that NLC is making such kind of request. Then what about the refineries being fixed? we are not seeing anything about it. You have boasted countless times that this is how much we're able to save. This was how much was going for fuel subsidy removal. It's a criminal act. This, we're going to use the money for this and that. And now we are having a period of months going, and then you should have enough by now. You should be having trillions of naira. If it is what you told us concerning how much we're saving from subsidy is true, then we should be having a significant amount of money being saved by the federal government as a result of subsidy removal. And all of this back and forth, all of these demands, all of these, the government didn't meet one in a long span of over 120 days and above, give or take. Let's leave it at an average of 120 days, and you are waiting and giving them another 30 days. What is it that they could have done in 120 days and they didn't do it, that they would want to do it for you now in 30 days? And then coming to look at the package, that package is no package at all, Sele, for a Nigerian. And with the inflation that is going on, with the free fall of the naira, the floating, with everything that is happening in the country, the fuel pump price going high, it's just a matter of 2 months or less that 30,000 naira will be valued at 10,000 naira as it is now.
Already,
the purchasing power for 30,000 will soon be down to 10,000 in a period of some few weeks, with the way things are going in the country. And then you accept such offer, and then you are still giving a 30 days grace for the federal government. And then you wonder, is the NLC checking out in a way like that, or are they truly out there for Nigerians? Because what is the aim of an indefinite strike? It is for the government to decide how long or how short this strike is. In the first place, it means that if we go on an indefinite strike and in the next 3 hours the government meets our demand, we are calling off the strike. And if they want to stay for a whole year without meeting our demands, we stay. But it gives them the power to determine how long that strike is. That is what it means. So why are you not putting the government in the position where they will have no other option than to meet your demands, knowing fully well what Nigerians are going through? But then you took this decision, and then it feels like it's not for the entire Nigeria, because whether we like it or not, fuel pump price will go high. In the next 30 days, we're having our naira free falling, comfortably going down as it is now, and we are having many other issues. We've seen the probe in the CBN that is ongoing, and we don't know what the outcome of the result will be on the MPR of the country and every other economic policy. We don't know what will be the result of the investigation going on in the CBN and how it might affect the economy of the country. And then yet we're just in a position to keep having faith as Nigerians on the NLC, the TUC, and every other body that we were putting our faith on to speak the mind of Nigerians and make the government do the needful. Well, so we just have to wait and see what they will do in the end
Rachel,
of the day.
Talking about waiting, sometimes Nigerians are tired of waiting, and the question now will be, who gets affected each time there's a strike in the country? Is it the workers who eventually go on that strike, or is it the government that's been affected by this strike? Because this is a question that has been on my mind, and I'm yet to get an answer that will actually make me feel comfortable. And I believe that is the same way Nigerians are feeling out there. An answer that when doctors are on strike, who get affected? When lecturers are on strike, who gets affected the most? When labor is on strike right now, who will get affected eventually? Believe you me, Richard, it is the masses eventually that get affected by this. Because whether we like it or not, when doctors are on strike, it is you and I who have to go to the public hospital to use, right? And the doctors are not there to attend to us.
Yes.
Talking about school, when lecturers are on strike, it's still the same students that cannot afford to send their own, or parents that cannot afford to send their kids abroad. They'll have to get affected. And so we'll see parents begging lecturers, please go back. Why? Because they are affected. And it seems as if the government is just playing with the future of Nigerians eventually. So I'm just hoping to look forward to in Nigeria one day that regardless of who get affected, they will hear that the government read. If you say you feel the pain of Nigerians, then you have to rise up and do the right thing by them. These people believe in you. Nigerians believe in the government. That was why on that day, we all went to the polls to put down our votes for the government. So when we put you there, it's not for you to go there and behave as if we do not matter. I always say this, that Nigerians are actually the employers. Because we are the ones who put the government there. If you're not acting well, we'll just call you back home and then get another person there. But the reverse is the case. Our leaders are over there and they act like gods. That is just what it looks like. That Nigerians or the masses are just servants. Whatever we choose to give you, the peanuts we give you, you have to manage. So I hope that this is not the picture our government wants to paint for our future generation that are coming. No wonder the youth say that. They keep saying the youth are the future of tomorrow. When is that tomorrow coming? Because over the years, since independence from 1999, ever since democratic took over or civilian government took over, we've seen that just how many youths are actually being represented over there, not to even talk about to talk on behalf of the entire Nigerian. So we're looking forward to a country one day, Rachel, that you wake up and then you see the right thing is being done, that there will be no need for threatening the strike before we see that workers are being given. Because even this 65,000 minimum wage, Rachel, how much are you going to spend if you have a car to fuel your car? How much are you going to pay school fees? How much are you going to feed your household? We're talking about 75,000 for about 15 million households. How many people have even seen the previous one? Not to even talk about another fresh one. Talking about the CNG buses. How soon would these buses start plying the route? And all of this thing is just 6 months, Rachel, by March. And how much will $1 be by then? So all of these are $1 million question that we need answers to. And we hope that the government, if they feel the pain of Nigerians, then we are hoping that before the end of October, let us see something tangible. It's not at the end of October we'll start seeing another round table again between the NLC and the government, say that please give us additional 2 weeks. We're yet to do all of this thing. So our fingers are crossed. We are rooting for the government. We're not here to instigate them, honestly. We're not here. But we're just trying to be the watchdog, to put them on their toe, to make sure that they do the right thing. Do right by Nigerians. If they put you there, I mean, they have faith in you that you can do it. So we also add up to the faith of Nigerians that we know the government can actually do it. Well, Richard, I think we have to draw the curtain here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sarah.
And thank you to our viewers for keeping the date with us on Nigeria. Now, until we come your way again tomorrow, do have a blessed day ahead.